So we're recording an interesting conversation today about a topic that I personally find very interesting, and um, I actually came up with this topic because both my guests today, Ayano and Leonel, actually featured on my channel before with totally different topics and separately, but they are friends. But I had both like separate videos with them, and then both of them said something about. Something totally irrelevant to that video, I guess, but it's something that struck me, like that stuck with me as well. And Ayano, so when I interviewed you, you said something like, if you dance with people where you don't really feel much in tango, so you can correct me if I'm not paraphrasing this correctly. But if you are like if you have to dance with people, or if you dance with people who may not be yeah, not have the same level as you in some way or another. I mean, the word level may be a bit problematic, but if you don't really feel much of a connection, you might as well not dance because tango is about finding this connection. Um, and then Lionel said something like, so sorry, how do I pronounce it? Lionel or Lionel?
Leonel.
Leonel. Okay. I always think it's with an I for some reason, but Leonel. Okay. So you said, okay, I'm having a bit of a blackout now. You said,
Something like if you reject a person, maybe the person would work harder to dance with you next time. Something to that effect.
yeah. So also in a totally different context, you said something like that. That if someone is not, yeah, it may be a good thing that not everybody dances with everybody. That's kind of the point because it challenges people to improve their dancing level. And I guess it's some kind of meritocratic idea. Um, and I found both of these remarks very interesting. And like I said, I just remembered them and I thought about them. And then at some point I wondered, can you guys maybe talk a bit more about this, or maybe like more than an interview, let's have a conversation about this. I think it's a really interesting topic. And I think it's an interesting topic because most people always think of this behavior in tango as a bad thing. And we have, well, maybe you guys haven't, but most of us have experienced moments of feeling excluded in tango or not being able to dance with the people you want for whatever reason. And this is usually framed as something negative. But I wonder if we can also think about it in a different way. So let me just begin by asking something important. So I'm sure you guys are aware of this being a negative thing in right? Like there may be a positive side, so that's why we're here. But are you aware of how this can like how there can be a perception of elitism in tango?
Okay. We'll go first.
Ah, yeah, no. Ladies go first, I
You,
guess. Oh, you want to first. Okay.
you. I go first. Ayano or me? Sorry, I didn't hear.
Yeah, you.
Okay. So the question is whether this can be perceived as elitism.
Well, no, in the first place, like have you perceived anything of this yourself? Like have you experienced feeling excluded or people being elitist as a
Sure,
tango
sure, sure.
dancer?
I have certainly experienced it throughout my tango journey. I remember when I was dancing for not so long, it was in the Bay Area. There was a milonga in Valenciano, which I think we all know, in San Francisco. And then at a table, like it was a round table, and there were 8, 9 people there sitting. And those were the kind of young, good dancers all that time at the table, and they were talking and enjoying each other. And I don't know what got into me that day. I just walk up there and ask sort of the one of the most experienced dancer to dance directly in front of everybody. And she looked at me and and she was like maybe something to the effect of maybe not now, which I took quite well because I don't know, maybe I was drunk a little bit like Ayano now, but I wasn't expecting like a very enthusiastic yes anyway. So I sort of took that as no problem, and I walked back to my seat, and everybody was looking at me. So that's sort of my first taste of this situation. And then I have been to Buenos Aires, milongas where like nobody would look at me. I have been to Europe, milongas in Europe where people just dance with each other. They don't really care about any visitors. Yeah, so personally, I have had these experiences a lot, and not a lot in the sense that more than average, but a lot in the sense that it does shape my tango journey, I guess. And I try to look at it overall as I didn't put a term of elitism on those situations. I just look at it from my personal point of view at the time that okay, I received some rejections. So what do I do about them? And I certainly think there are communities where there are people who think they are better than other people because they dance better. I think that certainly exists. I'm not sure that's a situation that we can eliminate, and I'm not sure that in itself is an evil thing either. Or it's something that is realistic to think we should get rid of it because it's a reflection of how people are. It's a reflection of the society. There are more egalitarian societies. There are societies where it's more hierarchical, and milonga is always a reflection of the society at large. So, sort of that's my initial take about on this. And then I just want to clarify my comments that I told you about earlier. It's something to the effect of in community development, when the community is very small, a lot of rejection does create a lot of sort of negative feelings among people, and it can make it hard to grow the community. When the community is a little bit larger, I don't see some rejections as harmful because I'm sure Ayano will talk more about this because people's preferences naturally arise. And sometimes, like the lady who I invited in San Francisco, he said, maybe not now, or something to the effect of maybe later. He sort of give me a sense that, she does want to dance with me, or she's interested in establish some sort of relationship, but that was not the right timing. And for the time being, until that time, what can I do? Maybe I can, try to improve myself or get to know her better or have some conversations with her first before I ask her again, because it could be a number of reasons why she didn't want to dance with me at that moment. So my point was, in a community of relatively larger size, some rejections makes people, I think, make people, it's more authentic, and also it could inspire some people to work on their dance instead of thinking that tango is something that I can just get right away and it's very straightforward and simple, which it is not. So maybe I stop here.
Yes.
So just to clarify, Ayano, so we have three wildly different time zones, and Ayano just came back from a milonga in San Francisco. Well, actually it's noon here, so that's quite a difference. But so you had your little party, I guess, and yeah, we're really looking forward to your milonga-inspired comments now. So it's. Can you let me just repeat the question, the initial question. So have you?
No.
Okay, you get it. Okay.
No, I mean, so it's very interesting because Leon and I met both in San Francisco. We met in San Francisco before Leo moved to Seoul. So some of our bases of our experience are from the same community. And San Francisco is a big community. We have milongas every day. We have 100 people in big milongas. So we're not, many of our comments are based on that first, no? So I grew up in that environment. So it was natural for me that people choose their partners. It was from the beginning very clear that it's not like everybody dance with everybody's situation. So when I went in, started going to a milonga, obviously I did not get dances. I watched most of the time and I danced with the worst dancer in the room, one or two tandas each night. That was my night. So I did not doubt, like that was my reality. So yes, it's negative, but at the same time, it's like, it is what it is. No? So like Leo said, yeah, okay, I should get better. I might get to know more people. I was just like going to milonga like nonstop. I started once a week, twice a week, 3 times a week, 4 times a week, 5 times a week, that kind of thing, no? Until it took a long time. I started getting some dances, let's say. People behave differently. And I also, in that process, I also noticed that same people would not ask me in certain milongas, but they would in some other occasions. Like, for example, we have a very casual practice on Mondays. There, I would start to get more dances. Now I would start to get asked. And then on Tuesday, high level milonga, where Leo experienced that first rejection or postponement, I would just sit literally all night, no? But it was really good dancing, so I would just watch because I'd rather watch than just badly dance there. So that's also a very interesting thing because it's not, if the rule is just the level of dancing, then that doesn't make any sense. Why would the same person behave differently? So we need to understand, like, there are many different environments, no? There are different rules or there are different dynamics. Like Leo said, again, like it's a human society, and milonga or the dance party is like a small size human society, or one of my friends said high school, no? So there are different dynamics going on always. For example, I remember going to Europe. Also, Europe is also a very cohesive society. When I went, I had been dancing for a while in US. In US, I would dance, no problem. And then by the time I went to Europe, I was not beginner. I was intermediate dancer. But then I don't know anybody in Europe. The first festival I went in Europe, I thought I would quit tango. And I thought, what am I going to do with this 50 pairs of shoes? Because nobody would dance with me the entire weekend. I was just watching people and I was miserable.
Yeah.
But I'm the same dancer. I'm dancing the same as in Europe, as in US. So if you think it's not just resorting to how well you dance, that's not it either. No, that's not the only factor. But I do remember. At the same time, also there are some regional differences because in Buenos Aires, as a woman, even when I was a beginner, because I think I went when I was only dancing like a year and a half, so I was quite bad. I danced quite a lot. I did not expect it. Badly, I am sure, but many people gave me chances. And their reason for asking people to dance or how they choose who to dance with seems quite different than, for example, European festivals or marathons. There is something fundamentally different what they're looking for and how they behave.
Yes, but Lionel said that he experienced in Buenos Aires, he experienced not like milongas where he would not dance at all. So that kind of sounds like your European festival.
I can explain
Yes,
why.
but he's a leader and I'm a follower. Very
Eh,
different.
if I may jump in quickly, to put it bluntly, Asian women are, are much higher in the food chain in Buenos Aires than Asian men. It's
Yeah,
just a
yeah, I
fact.
can imagine that. Yeah, yeah.
Just a fact. So I'm not complaining. I'm just highlighting the fact. Anyway, sorry, keep going. I know.
No. It's okay. I think I can rest my case here right now for the moment.
And I have a couple things that I want to say from what Ayano said. One is she was very interested in watching people dance when she once saw dancing so much. And I think that's really great and important because, say, for example, in Buenos Aires, traditionally, milongas are very much a social occasions where people eat, drink, talk to each other, socialize, and watch the floor because watching the floor is very interesting. Because for me personally, I can kind of guess what kind of person the person is or what mental state the person is in while watching her dance. And for me, that's very interesting. And so I always advise people who ask me, if they ask me, like, I go to Milonga, I don't get dances, what should I do? You should try to see it as a social occasions, get a drink, enjoy yourself, go with some friends, talk, listen to the music, enjoy the music, watch people dance, who you like, who you don't like. Watch it as like a human condition unfolding. And that to me is a much more interesting way to enjoy the milongas. And that also helps when you're not dancing a lot. And sometimes I have been to some milongas where I don't dance so much, but it was really interesting to watch, and I was very satisfied. And the second thing I wanted to say is Ayano summarized very well the fact that people dance with you or not dance with you is not solely based on the level. There are a lot of social factors of where you are, how new you're to a scene, and so on. And I just want to mention that I used to study psychology, and in psychology there is this analysis of personalities that each person have 5 basic traits that is supported by psychology experiments and survey. And it's the 5 traits are ocean, O being how open you are to new experiences. Some people are very open, some people are not so open. So people who are high on openness may want to dance with a lot of new people, where people who are low on openness may dance with their friends and once in a while try somebody new. C, conscientiousness is how hard people work in general. Maybe people's reaction is if I get rejection, I don't really see it as something that I can improve. Whereas some people are more conscientious, they work on themselves and they try to get the dances they want. E is extrovert versus introvert. There are people who are more extrovert. They like to talk to many people in the milonga. It's easy for them to talk to strangers. Then they make more friends, they dance more. People who are introvert, maybe it's harder for them to break into the scene, or maybe actually it's easier for them to stay in the milonga because they're okay sitting by themselves watching the milonga.
Mm.
And so on and so forth. I don't need to go through the whole psychological profile of people. But all I'm trying to say is, besides the social factors that Ayano mentioned, because of our own personality, people choose who to dance with in a very personal way. It's not that I dance longer, and it's not only, sometimes it could be, but it's not only that I dance longer, I'm just more better than you. It could be that, I'm just generally less open to dance with new people for whatever reason, and I need to observe you for longer. And I think that's totally fine. It's not it's not negative. It's just people are different in how they choose their partner.
Mm. I think also when you go to a milonga, you pay an entrance, you go. So what does that money get you? You know, what are you entitled to? Some people might think, oh, I pay this much, so I'm supposed to dance certain amount of tandas. That's a trap. That thinking, I think it's a trap that would make you, and it's easier to make yourself unhappy if you think like that. I think the entrance give you the right to be, and everybody is welcome. Anybody who can be there, choose to be there, can go through that entrance. However it is, some people are invited, some people pay the full fare. Maybe you work the door in exchange of the entrance. Whatever it is that got you the right to be there, that's your right. From there, it starts like from zero. You know, everybody's on the same ground. And I that's what I think. No, in Buenos Aires, they will give you, most milonga give you a seat. So it's the right to that chair, that table. That's your right. Whether you dance or not, that's up to you or and the others. And at the same time, everybody has the same right. I love that. No matter how handsome you are, how rich you are, or how poor, how smart, how dumb, it doesn't matter. Like everybody is on the same ground. I think tango is very interesting because of that. You know,
But why is everybody on the same ground?
Because it doesn't matter what you have outside of that dance floor. In that moment where you're sitting, whatever the music comes on, whoever each person that are in the milonga at that moment, whether you're gonna dance with who or not, it's happening each time. You know, nobody decides. It's not based on how much money you have, how tall you are, how cute you are. Maybe influences some, but it starts from scratch. Like whatever you have outside, it doesn't matter. That's not going to determine your night. You know, I think it's quite interesting.
I agree with that. I will only add that where you got seated does depend on some things. Meaning, if you go to that milonga a lot, you know, meaning that the organizer, basically, if the organizer knows who you are, you have a relationship with them, you show that you have a constant interest in the milonga, the milonga organizer may put you at a better table. But having said that, what Ayano said is totally true in the sense that, you know, everybody get a seat, everybody get a table. It's not that you pay more money, then you can get a better seat, or, you know, it's not totally, but it's quite egalitarian in that way. And I get her point, and I think that is very interesting about tango indeed. You and you know, wherever you sit, you don't have to feel you're less than anybody. You are just a person in the milonga like everybody else, and you're free to do what you want to do there to enjoy yourself. And I think that's really good. And I do want to, I don't know if we want to go there, but I do want to steer a little bit the discussion to small communities, because in the beginning, when Lucas mentioned this topic, he's actually used the word elitism, and I think I started in San Francisco. Now I'm in Seoul. Both communities are pretty large. When there's rejections or when people don't want to dance with each other, it's not so pronounced socially because there are many people. But I mean, if you're studying in a small community of 20, 30 people, maybe it's more pronounced. And I don't really know how that would work. I never started there, but I could imagine people may think, oh, he danced for a long time, but it doesn't dance with me. That is so snobbish, blah, blah, blah. I could imagine that's a natural human response. I'm not sure it's helpful, but I can imagine that. And just another thing that popped into my head that I think is interesting is in Seoul lately, it's competition is really very popular, and it has become that the people are really into competition. Some of them would not dance with people who don't compete, and their reasoning is they don't want to mess up their dance. So that's another type of rejection that I never thought I would see in tango, but it does happen. Anyway, that's sort of my 2 cents here.
We go to a lot of small communities to teach, Felipe and I, my partner and I. And so I've seen different dynamics go on. When there's only 20 people in a milonga or practica, you must dance with people. And I understand that, no? Even when the person you have to dance with, you don't enjoy dancing with them, or you wish they will get better at certain things because they're only 20 people and you want them to stay. So you dance with them, no? Because it's more important to keep the community than the individual quality of each tanda, no?
But do you think
The
it really works
personal-
like that? Sorry for interrupting you, but like I've been to small practicas like that, and I still don't dance with everyone, honestly. So I'm kind of surprised. Do you think that just happens, that people naturally dance more with each other, or maybe I'm not understanding it correctly, but
When the entire community is only 20 people, they tend to do that,
okay.
which is very understandable. I am an advocate of choosing your partner, choosing your tanda. You want to be truthfully really wanting to want that tanda instead of compromising to other needs. But I also understand the importance of keeping the community together. Otherwise, maybe you end up with one. And my friend who's visiting here, he mentioned that, well, if you choose too much, or if there's so much rejection, well, beginners might all quit because they would think it's just an unwelcoming environment and this is not fun.
Yeah.
And I understand that there are people who think that way.
Yeah. But I guess this may also be more normal if you're not a beginner in San Francisco, but in some less exciting scene. Because you actually said that you kind of waited out this beginner phase and you were fine with just watching, and then ultimately you got rewarded for that, because then you were.
But I'm also Asian, like both of us are Asian, Leon and I, and we come from a society where excellence is the most important thing. And if you're not good enough, you don't get what you deserve. I mean, you get what you deserve, so you need to work hard. That's kind of already given for us. So I don't think we took it that it's not a very entitled society. No, like US, I think is a little bit more like that. So, like we score 90 out of 100 and your parents go like, like, why did you miss that 10? It's not like, oh, you did so great, you're amazing, like it's not that kind of society. So maybe we are not a really good example of the general public. No.
Yeah, why don't you only invite Asians in this video? You need to invite some people from some other places.
Well, fortunately, I am there. I'm not Asian, so I can actually relate more to this European, North American type of mentality.
I want to comment something because
Yeah, sure.
recently my friend who also went to Tokyo actually, and I have danced in Tokyo recently, and I felt the same. My friend said it was very kind of bizarre because all of the invitation were accepted immediately. They invited somebody to dance every single time immediately. Yes, 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 yes.
A man or a woman? Sorry for asking, but
it was a woman, actually, very, very nice leader. asking
A leader.
other women.
Okay. Yeah, that's okay. It's good to know. Yeah, sure.
Woman leader asking woman follower in Japan. And she said, well, every single invitation immediately accepted. And she is a nice dancer. Yes, I understand. But it doesn't work like that here. In
But
US, you
is that
ask, and there is
politeness?
some like moment of like, okay, should I go? And then yes. Like maybe even one split second. But it's a little different, you know, like you push a button, you feel normally like some kind of feedback. There was no feedback. It was like immediately. And then at the same time, so she was saying, I am not sure if they actually wanted to dance. And even though all of the invitation were accepted, the satisfaction maybe was not the same because she was not sure if everybody actually wanted to dance with her.
Is that normal there, or
It's
have you
normal
heard
there.
that before?
It's normal there.
But is it
Because
just
I felt the
politeness
same too.
or not
I
saving?
felt the same too. And I
Okay.
also feel the same from men. When I reject, they are very surprised.
Oh, okay.
When I started going to salsa after dancing tango, I was choosing my partner. So I would say yes, sometimes I would say no, sometimes. Apparently in salsa, they don't reject because they only dance one song. So you basically always dance with whoever you ask, you're asked. So men were very confused and very, very furious. Like, what do you mean no? And I'm like, well, I don't know how to dance. I need you to know how to dance. Otherwise, we cannot dance salsa. So I'm choosing, or whatever the reason is, like I'm choosing. And they were very upset because they were not used to it. No, but this, for me, this choosing thing is very tango. It's almost essence of tango. If you don't say no, yes don't have a meaning, don't have the same weight. If everything is okay, whatever is okay, and it doesn't matter, then are you sure like you really love this thing? No, you could be that I love all the orchestra, I love all the dancers, and every single time I'm so happy and I'm like full-heartedly enjoying it. Some people can be like that. But what my friend experienced in Tokyo says something. No, you
Yes.
guys were nodding, so you understand what I mean.
Yes. Yes, I think, yeah. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
In Asia is a little bit, what I see is a little bit like this. In Asia, in many places, I know about Tokyo, I think it's true too. There are a lot more women than men who want to dance. So when a man asks a woman to dance, women generally just say yes, because if you say no, you are rejecting, I don't know, 1/3 of the people in the milonga because there are so few. For example, Shanghai, before there are a lot of guys, very few women. Whenever the guys take a few classes, they go to the milonga, all the women dance with them. They love it. Everything is great. No need to improve. No need to take classes. That sort of was the situation in Shanghai, right? And I think I have been to workshop situations in Japan as well, and it's kind of like that. Many women, very few guys, like 1 to 5, 1 to 3. And in those situations, guys are not used to receiving no. And I think I've talked to you before in a different podcast, but what I felt was Korea really started improving when the woman started saying no.
Yeah, I remember now. Yeah.
And the woman afford to say no here, partly because the number of men and women are relatively equal. So women are okay to say no. And I totally agree with Ayano. If you don't say no sometimes, yes means a lot less. What does yes really mean? It's like, even if you go to a buffet and you're extremely hungry, you don't eat everything. You eat what you like to eat. Everybody has preferences. That's our nature, right? So anyway, my point is, in a small community, or in a community where there are like many more women than men, or the opposite for that matter, it's harder to get to this true nature of tango that Ayano is talking about, whereas it's more conducive to growing the community if people dance more with each other and for the sake of the growth of the community. But once it gets larger or large enough, I think some rejection is very healthy. And also if something comes very easy, meaning when you go some places, you always get the yes, it's not the best for you either, because you become a very spoiled person. There's no guardrail of how you behave, how you dance in the milonga. For example, in Seoul lately, there's a person who, tell me if I'm using too much time. There's a person who dances in a very unstructured way, I guess. The person is more or less like a squid, and he just hugged the woman very tightly and just sort of shake the woman around and just enjoy the embrace. And some people would say, oh, and then he also held up the line of dance because of that. He's kind of enjoying a free hug in the line of dance. And this person continued to dance because they're a woman who said yes to him. And for me, I don't have anything against that person personally, but I don't think it's a good thing in tango that people dance that way, because one, it holds up the dance. Two, tango is not a free hug with some background music. It's a dance, right? But if they're a woman who continue to say yes, that person will never change. Or the line of dance is the same. If women say yes to everybody, the men who can navigate well, the men who cannot navigate well, all get on the floor, and the floor will be bad. It's actually very important for the woman to say no to the men who do not follow the dance well, in my opinion. So I think some form of no, it's healthy in tango. But of course, also depends on how you articulate the no. Whether it's respectful or whether it's dismissive. We could talk about that also. But anyway, that's sort of my take on what Lionel said.
I agree that our yes, because without the follower saying yes to the invitation of the leader, if that's the case, without our yes, that person cannot go on the floor. No, unless the person is going alone on the floor. So our yes comes with also responsibility, because our action has impact on the rest of the dance floor, because we are not dancing in our living room. Milonga is a communal space. It's a sacred space. And we need to be aware of the consequence of how we behave, how we interact, what we do on the floor, not do on the floor, with who, and when. No? And I also think that the follower, even when we are not deciding what kind of movement we're going to do and when and what kind of musicality, still need to be responsible, because we are part of it. We're actually doing it, and we are giving power, or rather, this is another good point. When we choose our partner, saying yes or no, and when, with who, we have that power. The choice is a power. We give permission almost to that person to go on the dance floor to do their dance, because it's not a surprise. We already watched, hopefully. That's also our responsibility, because with the power always come with a responsibility. We already watched how they behave, no? So that's one of the things that I wanted to chime in with you on that. It's important that we take that responsibility.
Yeah, I think in general it's true that men tend to get away with a lot because there are too many women. or because maybe men are also more valued. Maybe it's natural because they have to make the dance. But I think here there's a lot of men who could probably use some more some more lessons. Like even if they've been dancing for 20 years, I wish they would just improve, but there's no impetus to improve because the women dance with them anyway. And yeah,
Can I ask you a question?
sorry?
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, sure.
Do you hear this complaint about elitism a lot?
Yes.
Is that like a real thing in where you dance or in the Tango community, or for Ayano for that matter? Is that like a real thing in some Tango communities where people think, people are too elitist, Tango is not good, that kind of thing?
Well, in my case, yes, I think it is. How about you, Ayano? Well, you're still in the same community, I guess, but at the same time, you're traveling a lot. So I like this perspective of being able to zoom out and see a lot of different communities because you travel.
Wait, so for you, which community are you talking about? Sorry.
Me?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm talking about well, I live in a very densely populated country where we have a lot of communities very close. So I live in Holland, for people who don't know that, but I actually live near Amsterdam. But Amsterdam has a reputation of being very exclusive, so to say, or elitist, or whatever label you want to put on it. And some other communities are a bit more accessible, I guess. And then there's some resentment towards Amsterdam, but also within communities there can be resentment. For example, some women who've been dancing for a long time but still never really get asked. Or there's so many of these situations, and I thought it was really interesting what you said in the beginning, that you studied psychology and that you are aware of like these psychological profiles in the milonga. And some people, like you said, like some people are more, they may be more expecting to get dances, while others, like there's so many different. Yeah, I think that's I've never thought about it that way. So how about Ayano?
I noticed that people, because I have been already dancing long enough, it's my 20th year now, and I have gone to many, many milongas. So I would consider myself as experienced milonguera, that I understand that environment, how it works, what kind of people goes, da da da. So I noticed, for example, in Europe, in marathons, they don't they most people tend to not give chances to people they don't know. And I can tell because they're not looking, they don't have their radar
Yeah.
honed in, no? Their behavior is not milonguero. They know how to dance well. Many people know how technically how to dance well, but their maturity as which is a person who lives in milongas and who behaves in certain way and who have certain judgment or who understands about the music, all of that combined may not be there. And now when I go to those events and I don't dance much or they don't invite me, I don't think of selling my shoes and quitting tango because I know that they are not there yet. No? So maybe I just need to go talk to them, or maybe they need to realize that I can dance. Maybe I will dance with my partner or my friends, so they will see me. Hopefully they see, or it doesn't work. Okay, maybe I need to go become friends with them. Or maybe we actually have common friends and they might feel comfortable. Maybe they are guarded. Who knows? Or maybe they think that if they dance with the strangers, their dancing quality or level will go down, like Leo was talking about the competition dancers. No, I myself went through the phase. I remember I thought that I worked so hard on my dancing. I took so many classes. If I dance with the bad dancers, my dancing will get bad. I remember that time my choice was so limited. Now I widen my choices. People go through different phases for different reasons. Now I know because I have lived a little bit longer. maturity, I think, is always a great thing because you have more wider perspective and you're not so stuck in this narrow mindset that you are struggling alone. You know, you also get to know more people. That helps too. Does it make sense?
Yeah, yeah. Is it a?
Yeah. I have one more question.
Yeah, sure.
So as you mentioned, in Holland, around Amsterdam, there are people who don't dance with a lot of people, or only dance with their friends, and people don't like that, and they feel they're unfriendly. For the people who people think are unfriendly, are they always the best dancers, or sometimes they don't dance so well, but people still think they're stuck up?
Well, I think some people are certainly maybe entitled to something they shouldn't be expecting. But I personally do know that it can be very annoying if what Ayano said, if you are somewhere and people don't even really like, you could be dancing, and usually that is also an opportunity to make yourself visible. But then it's like people literally don't notice you. I've even had that locally when there are a lot of people present I have never seen before. Even in like Amsterdam is not my native tango community, but I go there a lot and I live close. But I still get frustrated if suddenly there's a lot of new people or a lot of expats and maybe tourists, and I have the feeling like they don't really even give people a chance by looking, like they're just busy dancing with their friends. But then that is also not necessarily a bad thing, so I try to not judge. And I have a personal, like, this is a really sensitive topic, so I can understand how people feel frustrated. But when I was in, like, I went to an event in Germany in January, which was a double role event. And there were some, maybe one or two guys that I would have liked to dance with. And there were some leaders, some men who were only dancing with women, and that's fine. But these guys were dancing with some other German guys, and but they just, like, the whole event, they never, at least one of them, like, never made any eye contact with me or any interest or any social. And I still, when I think about it, I don't like it. Even though I've been dancing for so long, but I thought, like, what else can I do? But it's probably not even personal, but it's just my psychological thing that I maybe because I'm one of these profiles, like you said in the beginning, I cannot paraphrase it very well, so please correct me if I don't say it the right way. But I am the kind of guy who is kind of open to trying out new dancers if I have the feeling like they might be interesting. Whereas other people don't really think like that, and they just want to dance with their friends. And I mean, it's a preference. But to the recipient, it can be frustrating. And I've really experienced this type of stuff in the past when I wasn't such a good dancer, and there would be women who would no way ever in hell look back, and then I would take it a bit personally. And I think it's actually very common for people to be emotionally influenced by this, and that's also why I think making this video with you guys makes a lot of sense, because just like something which is very popular, ageism, there are things like people are find it hard to struggle with, and then maybe they go dance salsa and they feel accepted by everyone. But tango, like you guys say, tango is actually a dance where it makes sense to have this behavior, but still it's painful, and that makes tango a very painful hobby sometimes, that you can go somewhere and you're suddenly not invited, especially women. I hear women about this a lot. They're certainly not invited by the people they know, and they have a horrible night, even though they've been dancing for 20 years and they were a teacher for a while, so they can certainly dance. But it is decided by other factors than just skill, which is also something you said. So I think this video has a lot of insights so far. And like I said, it's a really difficult topic.
Okay, I have something.
Go ahead.
I have something. So everybody's free to choose. So you need to respect that, yes. But at the same time, when you are mature milongero or milongera, you start to understand when people are more open. I think understanding that dynamic helps anyways, no? At the peak of the milonga, probably they're dancing with their friends. In the beginning, before people arrive, maybe they're more willing to, also like matter of choices too. At the end, maybe they're more willing. When I was a beginner, I always stayed till the end because I knew many good followers will get tired. They will go home and there'll be leader left that still want to dance. So they're willing to give me chances. Not at the peak of the night. I knew that. I knew that by experience. For example, no? If you are leader, same thing. Maybe if the follower cannot trust your navigation skill in the peak of the night, they might not look at you. But when there's less risk of, collision, maybe they will give more chances. Depending on the tanda, easier, not too fast, not too slow, but very well-known song that is not too risky, maybe not too emotional, people have different preferences, or like it's not my favorite tanda, so I'm okay trying out different people. Things like that,
Yes.
I think understanding that context also help a lot. Okay, now is the moment that I put my focus on finding other partners.
Very good tip. I totally agree. Like it depends a lot on the music, really. But before I go there, I have one point which will relate back to what you just said, which is I asked Lucas about this problem in more detail because suddenly in my head, I think we can separate two different things, which is I want to dance with this person doesn't dance with me. And I call this person an elitist, for example. Okay, it can be a natural human reaction. And it's because this person dances well. Or I want to dance with this person doesn't dance with me, but this person is not such an outstanding dancer. Would I harbor like less negative feeling towards this person? Do I have more negative feeling towards the quote unquote good dancer who doesn't dance with me? I think that does happen, right? People think, I want to dance with this person, but he doesn't dance with me. He dances well, dances for a long time. He can do all these things, but he doesn't want to dance with me. The person is so elitist. He just into this high level thing. He's not into community building. I think that's part of the phenomenon, right? If I understand it correctly. But if you look at it in an opposite way, it's also true that you want to dance with that person because the person dances well, not really because you want to dance with that person.
I
You
know.
equate that person with his skill, with his status. You want to be with a person of that status, not really because you're interested in that person himself or herself. And I think that's really important to separate, because in the milonga, nobody dances with everybody. But people don't really have negative reaction to the people who don't dance so well. Given if a person dances well, if he or she could dance with more people, people can experience what does it feel like. It's good for the community, quote unquote. Yeah, sure. But I think we need to be careful about, do you really want to dance with that person because the person just have a lot of skill and you want to experience the skill, or because you really want to dance with that person because you like that person? I think that's important to think about. And like what Ayano said, the time of the milonga, the type of music, it's very important, especially for people who have danced for longer. For example, new experienced people almost never dance milonga with somebody new because it takes, that's my understanding. Vals for me is easier. Some music is easier, very dramatic, very emotional music. It's harder because you're not really sure how that person dances. So I think Ayano gave some really good tips about how to get dances. Also, it's very practical to observe the milonga, observe how people choose their partners. But I think it's also important to keep in mind before we harbor sort of some negative feeling or ill will towards other people. Like, do you really want to dance with that person, or just because that's sort of some status or symbol, or I just want to experience what good dancing feels like.
I totally hear you because, I have heard from some leaders that the way they demand, they look, it feels like persecuting, like every time that like they're just like, I want to get her. They feel used or taken advantage of, and they really don't like to dance with these people. Like they don't want to, like they feel like really like being taken, no? At the same time, when I just experienced this Tuesday, 2 days ago in a milonga, this person that I knew was beginner or newer dancer and really awesome Troilo Fiorentino tanda, he looked at me like I want to dance with you with conviction. He cabeceó me with conviction. And I'm sure it took courage. And I had taught him before, like long time ago. He's not from this community. So I suppose I'm in the teacher position to him, but he looked at me and with conviction. So I'm like, okay, you look at me like that. I would dance with you. I was convinced. I said yes. That cabeceo already had a lot of intention. That was already convincing. No matter how he danced, I already checked. I was already watching him dance. It's like, oh, okay, he's dancing nicely. He's not causing trouble in the ronda. But really, the killer, the clue, the key was that cabeceo. So depending on that intention, you can also communicate that through how you invite. It could be verbal even, no? But
Yep. I agree.
Good cabeceo or good mirada says 1,000 words.
Claro. And I just have another practical tip related to what I said about the personal profile. Like for me personally, when dancing with people, I'm less open in the sense that I'm more into dancing people that I know. I'm a little more I wouldn't say picky. I'm just psychologically less open to very new experiences.
But that's the point you made earlier. So it's not necessarily about being picky. I mean, it's kind of the personal
I'm
character,
wired.
and like I'm wired differently than you, I guess.
Yeah, that's how I'm wired.
Yeah.
And also, I can be extroverted, but I think my core is introverted. So what I'm trying to say is, for somebody like me, or somebody similar to me, if the person has talked to me before, or we have said hello at the bar, or we sat next to each other and have a small conversation, it put me at ease because I kind of know what that person is about. I kind of have have some sort of a social connection with the person. It can be very brief, but a brief social connection can establish trust. And that's what I try to do sometimes, is when I want to dance with somebody, person is not really looking at me, I may try to initiate some form of social connection. It could be very small, but it could establish a trust. And that helps. At least that's helped me to dance with strangers, right? And second thing that helps also for me is what I know is some people would I would cabeceo some people would cabeceo me. And that is not the right moment for one of the people. So the people pretend he or didn't see the cabeceo. But that's not necessarily a no. It's just that maybe that moment the person is searching for another partner. That moment the person is tired. That moment the person wants to chat. And I have found it in many cases myself and other people that the cabeceo would happen later. That, okay, not now, but later, this is the right moment. The person didn't look at me before, but the person look at me now, and we go dance with the right music or something. I think that's very important. It's not to make such a big deal about the initial rejection or cabeceo not seen, because there's no rejection in cabeceo really, right? So not make such a big deal about that and just keep trying to enjoy your night. and go check back with the person later, make little social interaction, small talk, or real talk for that matter. I think that's really important for people who want to get more dances.
Hmm.
Well,
I personally don't like the word get dances.
Sure. The word
But,
get is
you know,
is get.
just
Yeah.
one little
Sure.
caveat there.
Yeah.
I have a suggestion or I don't know, tips for advanced dancer. Like you don't have an obligation to dance with everybody. Maybe other people more likely want to dance with you than you want to dance with them. But you can say hi to them, learn their names, or
yeah,
if
you can still be
feel like
friendly,
it,
right? Yeah.
it's okay. It's okay, you know, like you're not savior of the world. You cannot make everybody happy. You're there to enjoy yourself. But if you want, you can recognize that person because they are, you know, unless you have like personal grudge against them, you don't need to be friends with everybody. But like I like to say hi. How to say, I have learned to say hi to people. Many people think that I'm extrovert. I'm not. I'm an introvert, but I have learned to talk to strangers, which was very difficult in the beginning, believe it or not. But I have learned. And so now, like, I know 99.9% of the people who are in the Milonga in the Bay Area. But sometimes I see new people. And if I have it in me, the extra energy, I go talk to the strangers like, hi, like I see you all the time. Like, what's your name? You know, my name is Ayano. Where you from? Stuff like that, no?
And they're
And
not.
I don't necessarily, that doesn't mean that I'm going to dance with them.
Yeah.
But I acknowledge them as persons, and I really love tango. So whoever loves tango, you know, they're my friends or like tango acquaintance. I don't mind saying hi, and I love saying hi. You know, I love seeing them in the milonga, even if I would never dance with them or I'm not dancing with them at the moment. You know, maybe that moment will come, but I try to say hi to people that I know. And if I don't know them, and if I can, because sometimes it's really hard, because like today we came in late. So like from the entrance to until we get to the seat, and like I say hi to like 56 people, you know, things like that. It's a little ridiculous now. But that would change also the ambience of the milonga. I've seen milongueros do that in Buenos Aires. They don't necessarily dance with them. Sometimes they're enemies, but they still say hi. Like it's a thing, you know? And I'm like, oh, okay. So like I learned from them. I'm copying probably their behavior. And I think there's something good about that. It's nice to be said hi and hi. So in that entrance, and you earn the right to be there, you can also be said hi and say hi to people. And that's a start. It's a human thing. And, you know, dancing is really a lot of commitment. But sharing space, saying hi to the neighbor, I think it's a small step.
Yeah, but I guess then, like Lionel said, like there are guys who, there are people who don't really do this naturally because they're shy or for whatever reason. And then I guess that should also,
Learn.
yeah. Okay, you're doing, yeah,
You learn.
I think
yeah. But I guess isn't it also fine to not do that? Like, isn't it also
Sure.
legitimate to,
It's a choice.
I think it would be good if that's part of the education of tango
yeah,
beginners. People, whether they really do it or not, is their choice. But I totally agree that when you come in, you say hello. You know, the Argentinian way of saying hello is different than here in Asia a lot, right? In Argentina, you go to each person and you say hello different ways, right? If you're really close, you give them a hug, kind of not so close, and like un beso, even not so close, and maybe handshake, or maybe just not your hand. You know, each person they have their like different degree of saying hello, right? And I think it's a really in Asia, the normal way of saying hello is you go into a room, you bow to everybody, and just one and done. But I think in milonga it's really good to do it the Argentinian way, because one, you kind of is visible, you kind of announce your arrival, everybody can see you, and when you say hello, the person can hello. I think we lost somebody. Okay.
Oh,
He's back.
yes.
You're back. So I feel when I say hello, I kind of announce my arrival, and I say hello to each person, and some people can feel that the person is genuinely interested in me. Maybe later we can dance. And the fact that saying hello in Korean, actually, when you say hello, it means I hope you're well, and that creates a lot of goodwill in the milonga and create a general sense of community in the milonga, positivity in the milonga, that I think is really good. Instead of you just come, you sit down, change your shoes, and just sit and wait. And that's something we try to teach people or try to show people here in Seoul. Sometimes it works in some way, it doesn't work in some way, but at least I try to do that, and I think that's a really good thing. And also, like Ayano said, I recognize, I acknowledge your presence in the room is a very respectful thing to do. And whether I dance with you or not is a separate thing. But you acknowledge my presence already. It's like we're accepting each other in the same room, sharing the same passion. And I think that's really good. And even if people don't get so many dances, or sorry, if people don't dance so much or dance as much as they want, but they felt their presence is acknowledged, that is worth a lot, because your presence in the society is not always acknowledged.
Like in Argentina, it starts also with the host.
See,
The host greets you, and that already is like a welcome, and it's
claro.
really nice. Many, not all of them, but many hosts has this nice way of welcoming, and that already feels like, oh, I'm so glad I came out.
Claro.
We
Yeah.
also teach that too, the greetings.
Yeah.
We also work in Silicon Valley, so most people, like, there are some people who don't talk to humans all day.
Yeah.
Like, they're not used to human interaction. Sometimes I say, okay, don't disappear, say bye before you go, because I care about you. I want to know if you're well or not. And yeah, it's nice. Like, I start teaching from the beginners, and then they always come and find me to say goodbye before they go, and it's like,
That's
it's
so
also
nice.
nice for me too.
That's so nice.
Mm.
And like we said earlier, here my experience is there are people who are very resistant to it. Like we try to teach some classes about, hey, if you want to you think you dance pretty well, but for some reason you're not meeting enough people or dancing enough in the milonga, come take this class. We show you some tricks. And then we very clearly say, these are the reasons. If you make more connections, people, you say more hello to people. These are like proven things that works, and actually it makes the milonga more positive. It's like you're contributing to the milonga. But because of their personality or for whatever reason, they are very resistant to it. And I understand, and I can respect that. It's not that everybody have that personality, but I think the more we promote that in Tango, the better it is to make it like a social thing.
Yeah. I love that part, because you still don't have to compromise this sacred thing of the dance, that you dance when you want to dance, who you want to dance with, because that would be great. That would be great. If not, like, people dancing with obligation or half ass, or because they just want to get a status, or whatever other intentions, which happens, I understand. But the other thing that I also recommend is, like, feng shui wise, when you're stuck for too long, it's not good. It's not good.
Right.
So I tell people, like, if you're not dancing for a while and you're getting in a bad mood or something, like, move.
Yeah.
Like, get up from the chair and go somewhere, get a snack, get a drink, go to the bathroom, like, chat with your friend or chat with the host. We don't have a friend, chat with the host or DJ. I don't care. Like, change something and then things might happen. And again, if you're stuck for a while, do something again. No,
Yeah.
I think it could help. You know, it might refresh your mood, or it might change something.
Yeah.
You know, chi or something.
Feng shui.
Feng shui, no? Mhm. Also, the way the energy that you project also has a lot to do. When you become like grudging and like you're like, no, why is nobody asking to me to dance, or why is nobody accepting my invitation? She's like this, and then you're like, the face is like this, and the energy is like dark.
Good
Nobody
imitation,
wants to
yeah.
dance with you. Nobody wants to be around you. So that's why the moving helps. Or maybe you should go with a friend that you feel comfortable with. When two people are chatting happy, it's much more approachable for other people. You know, for
Yeah.
example, if you go to an event alone, it's hard. It's hard. It's hard. You're like, very Spartan. Maybe
Yeah.
you should go with a friend. It would, or maybe better that you go with a little bit bigger group. Then you can start dancing together, so they can see you dance, or they meet somebody nice, they can introduce you, things like
Yeah.
that, no? Like,
Yeah.
no?
Yeah. I have observed in the milonga there are like different types. There is the I know I'm gonna dance my friends. Ooh, sorry. I know I'm gonna dance my friends, so I'm just gonna look at my phone until my friends ask me type. There's the type that I want to dance a lot, I want to dance a lot, I want to dance a lot. Why nobody look at me type? There's the I'm have looked at people a lot and I'm giving up and I'm just gonna go home soon type. And people can tell what is your energy. And there are type where this moment I'm ready to dance, whoever want to ask me, or I'm ready, please. I'm interested in the dance floor. I'm interested in you guys. Versus, I'm just in a negative space. Versus I'm talking to my friends, it's really interesting conversation. I don't really want to dance this tanda. You can tell if you observe long enough. And it's important you project a energy of I'm ready to dance, I want to dance, but not too eager. The overly eager type put pressure actually on people who ask you because 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 if you're too eager, it's kind of opposite of being calm and connection. It's more like whoever come, I want to dance. It's not really good energy either for me. So that's what I've observed in the milonga so far. There are situations, and also sometimes it's we in Chinese we say ride a cow and look for a horse. Ride a cow, look for the horse. Meaning, if you start dancing, even though you don't really like or you're not super into this dance, if you start dancing, the dancing energy itself would bring more dancing into your life. It's not so different than changing your seats. But if you have a lot of sitting energy, a lot of sitting, it's hard to get like the perfect tanda that you want right away. It doesn't really work that way. Ride a cow and find a horse. It works in many areas of life, not just tango. Anyway.
Great lesson. Great lesson. I should take it myself. I also often tell myself, soften the gaze. Sometimes I'm too intense, and I'm scary. I also hear from some guys in the community that some ladies, they're like, like obligating. It's scary. They think like they're like persecuting you. Like, if you don't dance with me, I will do, that kind
I
of
can get a lot
pressure.
of pressure as a guy, like a more desirable kind of guy. I get a lot of pressure, and sometimes I ask myself, like, it happens that I feel like I'm like a taxi dancer, but I'm actually paying. That's not that's not yeah. People like that when I say that, but that's really what I feel like. I'm not really enjoying myself because I'm getting flooded with women who are quite too aggressive about wanting to dance with me, but I don't get to dance the tandas I want because of this. It can be really intimidating.
or it's like the next 12 minutes, like my night rest on you dancing with me or not in this moment. If you get that energy from a cabeceo, it's hard. It's like, if you dance with me, you save my life and it's great. If you don't dance with me, it's the end of the world. That kind of energy is hard.
Yeah, I
But
mean,
anyway,
like the tango is not for children, you know, not for it's not a kindergarten. That's why we don't dance with everybody. Maybe when we are all starting, it's a kindergarten situation, or maybe when it's a small community because it's so fragile. Like, you know, like baby, you need to take care of them, you know, with care. Otherwise, they might just, you know, they're fragile. So it's more like a kindergarten situation. But real milonga, when the community is big enough and when adults come, it's an adult playground. It's different than kindergarten. You need maturity, and not just in the level of dancing, but in accepting how you are, where you are, what you're going to get, what you're not going to get, and other people's preferences. When people come with the mature attitude and being an adult, then we can play. Then it's a real playground that is really fun. When the tanda starts, hopefully the DJ is also really good. Everybody's like, so who am I going to dance with? Like this one, this one, this one. Okay, this one looking that way. No, not that one. Okay. Oh, I guess he doesn't want to dance with me. This one. Okay. This one. Okay. Now, boom. Sometimes you have a moment, it could be with a stranger or with a friend, that the tanda starts beep, 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 and you go boom. That's like magical. It doesn't happen all the time. But when it happens, it's like, you know, that tanda is going to be awesome. Somehow you felt that you want to dance with that person, both of you at the same time. Awesome. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's like, you know, shopping or like hunting or something. I feel that a lot in Buenos Aires milonga, that they are comparing, and it's not in a negative way. You know, they're like, their gaze are like sliding, like, and then they pass me, like their eyes pass me. But I have learned that I don't despair at that moment, because they're just like surveying the territory. You know what I mean? Like all the options.
I actually do that
And the
too.
song. And then they're like, you know, and then they come back, like, good, come back. I'm like,
I'm actually annoyed by what I see here. For example, even in good milongas is always the immediately switch of cabeceo. Even like it can be a good thing, but it's also like I feel like people. I always try to observe everything before and then listen to the music for 10, 20 seconds, but I'm always too late because people are just supersonic about.
yeah.
And it's not always a good thing. So I like that Buenos Aires type of. I do that. Maybe not in the same fashion, of course, as a real milonguero,
No,
but
no.
I do
I
that.
think that's really cool. That's really cool. Yeah, like going back to the Tokyo Milonga, where the person who was inviting did not feel that they were chosen because people are saying yes to whatever.
Yeah,
No, like if people
that
are
would
just not
confuse me
choosing
a
and
lot.
dancing with whoever, then
Yeah,
the
sure.
mature tanguero, milonguero, who is choosing because they have taste and because they want to have a special experience with special other people who also wants that kind of experience, those behaviors are not rewarded if everybody's just dancing with whoever, or they go up to the person and ask to dance. Your opportunity of this magical moment or magical tanda is robbed. No?
it's also
That's also why,
boring to.
that's also why, like, I don't want to reward that kind of behavior too. Not only that the magic is not there, also not only that my right to choose had been violated. No,
It's also
also I don't want to reward that kind of behavior. That's not
boring
nice.
to DJ in a milonga like that. If people just dance all the time, dance with whoever, it's like it doesn't really matter what music I play. Their behavior very similar. It becomes quite boring. Whereas if I'm DJing at a milonga and I can see people are considering who to dance with depending on what the music is, it makes a huge difference.
Mm-hmm.
That's from a DJ point of view, which I haven't done so much lately. But have we wandered off this topic?
No, not at all. But I do think we have to wrap it up a little bit. So, is there anything you have missed that you would like to say?
Oh, I have taken a class with this great maestro in Buenos Aires this year, and this person that we all know really well said one has to be responsible for their own happiness, to put it in a cleaner word than he actually used. And I think that's a good start. You know, you choose. I choose. Nobody told me to dance tango. I choose to dance tango, not salsa, no ballroom, tango. And it comes with certain environment, certain way of dancing, certain type of people. And I also want to choose when to dance, who to dance with, what kind of music, and whether I'm dancing or not. If I don't choose my partner, if I just want to dance, maybe I can dance with anybody all the time. But I choose to choose, and I choose sometimes to dance less and dance when I want to. And I don't dance with all the best dancers in the room. That's not my criteria either. There are many reasons why I want to dance with certain people, certain time. And it also probably changed. It has changed for me throughout my growth as a milonguera. In the beginning, first year, third year, fifth year, 10th year, 15th year, it has changed. And I'm also a teacher now and also community person. Like, so my intention or my reason why I want to dance with certain people may be different than other people. Each person has their own reason to dance. This oversimplification that somebody gets dances because they're cute, because they dance better, I don't think it's a really accurate representation of what's going on. It's much more complex. And when you start going into that, I think you will find your niche. You will find a way to enjoy the milonga your way. I think that could be truthful, I think, for both leader and follower.
Yeah, there's a lot of great advice in this video. Like I should have expected that because I asked two teachers, but it actually really went on this course of not just talking about the topic itself, but also giving people advice, which I really like. So I'm happy about that. And Lionel, do you have any closing comments yourself, or do you want to reply to Ayano?
I just want to say, it seems like me and Ayano, I knew that before, but I guess it's confirmed once again that we have pretty similar ideas. I have to say, I have been feeling a little sad in the past couple of years, maybe, that for the kind of tango that we like, it takes a certain culture, meaning a group of people, the people of the milonga, have to share more or less the similar ideas, or else it doesn't really work. And I have to say, I'm seeing less of that in the immediate environment that I'm in, and that makes me a little sad that the idea of you go into this social situation, you share the passion together, you try to generate good energy, you try to listen to your heart of what you really want to do, you're responsible for your own happiness, and this happiness through the music, through the embrace, through the connection, I think I understand it. I've experienced it. I know what she's talking about. I think, the three of us kind of understand, but I'm sorry to say it's a little bit waning in the immediate environment that I see, and I feel sad about that. And I'm trying to do things myself to improve the situation, but it has been a little bit defeating. But maybe that's for a different podcast. Or maybe Ayano would make a great event and we'll just all go and everything will be fine. If she's still there.
Yeah. Hopefully it's a phase. Hopefully it's a phase that they will all grow up and come to terms and be mature, and we can play in the adult playground.
Or in 10 years or 15 years, we all play by ourselves in a very happy way.
Because it takes time to be an adult, because dancing, working on their own dancing is one thing. But for example, working on honing your radar, how to choose who you like to dance with, it's quite difficult. I realize that a lot of people don't know how to do it. And it's very personal. My radar and your radars are different. You need to know what kind of dance you like, when, why. No,
I don't, sorry, go ahead.
Mhm.
I don't mean to be, I don't want to be negative, but what I see is in a community, we need like role models in the sense that that's how culture transmit organically, right? There's some group of people who are doing some stuff for a while. There's some new people come, they observe, they learn sometimes through classes, but in terms of like social behavior and stuff, it's more through like copying the behavior or some small talk or some, dinner or whatever social situation. And I don't know if we have enough good role models to get through this, but I hope we do. I don't want to sound really like negative because we have been having such a positive and fun discussion, but that's sort of what my thing is. We need the good role models to be together so people feel, actually this whole thing makes sense. Because if it's just one person, if you're a single person who act a certain way, you're not a role model. You're just a more experienced person acting differently than everybody else. But if there's a group of people who illustrate how this works, then people can follow and copy, right? And that is happening less, in my experience. Maybe it's a phase, like you said. I hope it is. Anyway, that's my last comment. And I hope we make more conversation like this soon.
Yeah.
Well, it's certainly been inspiring. So it's like tango itself. Like one of you said at some point that when you dance, sometimes you get new inspiration for other dances, and maybe you get better dances because you don't sit out, but you kind of like accept the situation as it is, and then you gain new inspiration from that. And I have that with this conversation. That I, as an interviewer, don't always have the inspiration to interview people.
Can I add one more?
Sure.
Sorry.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
also like
well,
a
that's the last
karma
point.
thing.
I'm
Last
afraid.
point.
Yes.
Last point. It's like a karma thing, because I also have heard this from other people. Many people think about getting the dances when you feel like you're not getting what you want, which I don't like the idea anyway, but you can also think of giving. When you give, maybe you get, No, you don't give just because you want to get something, but sometimes, okay, like it's not my favorite dancer, or maybe they're less experienced dancers, but you might make their night, and that their joy, your partner's joy, might make you happy, and that might change something in your night. And that had happened also many times to me too. Sometimes I'm focusing on like whatever, my obsession, and like, well, like this person keeps looking at me. Okay, fine. I give it a chance. And actually, it was really nice because that person really wanted to dance with me, and we actually had a nice conversation. And even though he looked like less experienced, it was actually not that bad, and just the joy already, made it okay. And that might trigger something different. And I think that's really good. It might not just about the dancing. I also have heard people bringing candy and giving it to people around, because that person knew that they didn't have much friend, or they were very shy, but just by the act of giving already made them interact in a different way, and their attitude changed. And I think that's another good advice, or tools that one can use if they choose to.
Yes.
Last one.
Yes. Okay. So thank you so much for all the wisdom. I mean, that's kind of the point of my channel, of these interviews. Like, I just want to make all these thoughts of experienced and maybe some less experienced people, make it public and bring it out in the open. And there's so many interesting things being discussed about tango privately between people, and I love it when I can just put this. It's kind of a community thing as well, even though the world is very fake as a community, but still I try to do my bit as well. So thank you.
Thank you for doing it.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate it.
Yes, and I'm sure we'll talk and starts acting up again. I'm still here actually, but for some reason it's switching on and off sometimes. Okay, so see you next time, and thanks for today.
Thank you.